Imagine it's your best friend's birthday and you've been asked to bake their birthday cake. Would you feel comfortable baking a cake for another person? Most people would probably say no, but baking a cake and making other desserts in general is not as complicated as it sounds, especially if you have a recipe to follow. Personally, I think that baking a cake is a nice way to add a sentimental touch and is much more meaningful than using a store-bought cake for a special occasion. For the past 5 years, I've been baking my cousin's birthday cake, and I've also made plenty of other desserts. I've made a wide variety of cakes ranging from 3-tiered funfetti cakes to simple chocolate cakes. Through trial and error, I've discovered my favorite recipes and recipes that didn't work out too well for me, but now I feel comfortable making many different types of cakes. Today, I will discuss the steps of baking a classic vanilla cake, and I will also give you tips that helped me when I was beginning to learn how to bake. But let's first discuss what we're going to need to bake our cake. To bake our cake, you'll need the following materials. You need 1 or more large mixing bowls, a hand or stand mixer, measuring cups and measuring spoons, as well as 2 9-inch cake pans. The ingredients for our cake are as followed, but please make a note that these ingredients do not include the ingredients needed to make homemade frosting. To make our cake, you'll need 1 cup of unsalted butter, 1.5 cups granulated sugar, 4 eggs, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract, 2 3/4 cup cake flour, which is different than normal flour, and then 2 3/4 tablespoon baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of whole milk, and 1 to 2 cans of store-bought frosting, depending on how much frosting you like on your cakes. Now that we've discussed our ingredients and other materials, we can begin making our cake. You're going to want to first preheat your oven to 350 degrees, and then you're going to want to lightly grease both of your 9-inch cake pans and line each pan with parchment paper. My first tip of our recipe is lightly covering your pans and your parchment paper, if you want to, with flour. This will ensure that they obviously don't stick to the pan as much, but also will help them rise more evenly, which is really what you want, so you don't have to shave any of the top off to make them level. So next, you're going to want to mix your butter and your sugar together, and you're going to want to beat that until it's pale yellow and fluffy. And then you're going to want to add in your eggs one at a time, but to do this, you should mix it well in between each one to make sure that everything is mixing properly. Then after you mix in your eggs, you're going to want to mix in your vanilla extract. And then you're going to want to combine all of your dry ingredients, which is your flour, your baking powder, and your salt on the side. And after you mix these together, you're going to want to whisk it into your butter mixture. But make sure you do this not all at one time so it doesn't go everywhere. You're going to want to do that kind of slowly just to make sure everything is combining the way you want it to. Next, you're going to want to add in your milk and mix it together until it's combined well. At this point, it should look like batter. It shouldn't look thick or anything like that. Then you're going to want to divide your batter evenly between your 9-inch cake pans, and you're going to want to put it in the oven and bake it for 20 to 30 minutes. Usually when I bake this cake, I make it for about 30 minutes. My next tip is to check your cakes. You're going to want to pull them out of the oven when it's done, and then you're going to stick a toothpick in the middle, and if it comes out and there are no crumbs on it, that means there's no excess moisture and they are done baking. Once they're done baking, you're going to want to let them cool for 10 minutes before you remove them from their cake pans. And then once you finally remove them from your cake pans, you're going to want to let them cool completely on a wire rack or a plate. And then once they're cool to the touch and they don't feel warm anymore, you're going to want to frost the cakes with frosting of your choosing and then serve it. Now, let's go over what we've done today. Today, I've shared the materials and ingredients needed to make vanilla cake as well as the assembly steps. In the beginning, I asked you if you would feel comfortable baking a cake for your best friend's birthday, and I hope that you now have the skills to do so and will try to make this recipe one day.